was one of the best and worst moments of my life, where the moment of his birth was the single most painful moment of my life. But at the same time, I dwell on it all the time. I think about it all the time because he brings me joy. Like, he brings me so much joy. Just this little life, this little spirit.
Welcome to The Rainbow Connection. This podcast was designed for mothers who are finding their way through life after loss. Whether you're grieving, trying to conceive again, newly pregnant, or holding hope in your heart for what's to come, this space is for you. Each week you'll hear real and tender stories of love, heartbreak, healing, and the babies who continue to shape us. I'm your host, Kristen Mundy, a mother, doula, and a woman who's walked this path too. May these conversations remind you that you are not alone, that your baby is never forgotten, and that hope and grief can live here together. Before we dive into today's episode, I want to tell you about Mother Like No Other, a special community for women who are navigating the tender season of life after loss. Inside Mother Like No Other, you'll find a warm, supportive space of moms who truly get it, plus practical tools to help you through the hard days. You'll have access to a private online community where you can connect with me, an experienced doula, and other moms navigating the same journey. Each month, we gather for live workshops to connect and learn, covering topics like supporting your fertility journey, grounding strategies, self-advocacy, and ways to nurture your mind, body, and soul. We also bring in guest speakers to share their expertise and inspiration. The best part? It's only $22 a month. No long-term commitment, just real support when you need it most. If you're ready to feel more grounded, connected, and held through this season, come join us at thedoulalife.ca/mother. You do not have to go through this journey alone. And by joining us inside Mother Like No Other, you won't have to. In today's episode of The Rainbow Connection, I'm sitting down with the beautiful and deeply tender-hearted Julie Wells, a mama from Minnesota who I had the privilege of working with for the last year as she welcomed her beautiful rainbow baby, Ameya. Julie opens up about the pregnancy and devastating loss of her son, Gabriel, who was born at 14 weeks after days of sickness, of cramping, and 2 traumatic ER experiences that left her unheard and her symptoms ignored until it unfortunately was too late. She shares the sacred moment she held him for the first time, the grief that shaped her, and the way she continues to honor his life. Julie also invites us into her journey of pregnancy after loss, carrying a new baby beyond the gestational age that she lost Gabriel, and the powerful, heaven-brushed birth of her rainbow daughter, Ameya. This conversation is very faith-filled. We don't talk about God or heaven or much of that on the podcast before, so I'm really excited, I guess, to kind of open that conversation with this audience. Okay, enough from me. Now let's hear from Julie. Hi, Julie. Welcome to the Rainbow Connection. I am so thankful to have you on the podcast today.
Thank you, Krista. I'm super stoked to be here.
Yeah, today actually feels really special because Julie was a part of my last cohort in the Haven. So her and I have gotten to work together, pretty intimately, and we've traveled together now for a year. Can you believe it? It's been a year now.
So wild.
I know. So I'm really excited for everyone to hear from Julie because she has such a powerful story, and I know so many of the listeners are going to connect with you. But before we dive in, Julie actually is going to be sharing an angel baby and a rainbow baby story, but I'm sure the listeners want to know a little bit about you. So why don't you share with them a little bit about yourself, Julie?
Yeah. So I live in the United States in Minnesota. I grew up and was raised here. But then I married my wonderful husband who is Australian. And so we lived in Australia for a bunch of years and traveled around to a bunch of different nations. So travel and different cultures are definitely a big part of my heart. But one of the things that when I was abroad was I was a certified midwife for developing nations. So maternal health is hugely on my heart. Babies, kiddos, mamas, that's super, super huge for me. So it is really special for me to be able to speak for me to a whole bunch of mamas right
Mm.
now too. So, oh, and I am a full-time mama. I spend all my time with my little babies and absolutely love it.
Best job in the world, right?
Absolutely. For after having a lot of different jobs, 100% I can say that.
Hard job, very hard job, but very rewarding. Well, Julie, wherever you would like to start, we would love to hear about your beautiful little babies.
Thank you. So, I guess in February of 2024, I found out that I was pregnant with my angel baby. Um, I had a 1.5-year-old who I'm just going to call Little Goose because that's what I call him. Um, I was, I had no sleep at that point in time whatsoever. I hadn't had a full night's sleep in a year, and I was wildly exhausted. So when I found out about my sweet little baby, I was so overwhelmed. I was wildly overwhelmed. I was a little bit freaking out, but very quickly, like surreal amount of quickly, it went from freaking out to like, wow, this child is supposed to be in my family. This is designed to be this way. And I was overwhelmed by the amount of love that I had for this child after being so overwhelmed and so scared that I hadn't gotten sleep or anything. I was fully in this child's camp of I adore this child, and it didn't make any sense to me at the time. And so the first week that I was pregnant with my child's name is Gabriel. The first week that I was pregnant with Gabriel, um, I had extreme cramping, extreme vomiting, just some of the worst sickness I've ever had in my life. It was so horrible that ended up making me go to the emergency room, and they wrongly diagnosed me with HG, hyperemesis gravidum. And I
Mm.
say wrongly because it got better after that. But they're like, yeah, the baby looks great. I'm like, I know it looks great. There's no reason for the baby not to look great. So I was, that whole time, I was very, very, very sick, but very in love with this child. Something that was very special to me is I am a Christian and I love to wait on just like ask and think about my babies and be like, what is something about my babies? And normally with my firstborn, I did this close to the end of my pregnancy and was like, oh, I get to know my baby a little bit more. This is so special. But surprisingly, I did it with this child at like 8 weeks gestation. I got all these beautiful things about my baby that I just really felt on my heart was true about this child, which made me even more excited um, to meet them. The pregnancy was fraught with just a ton of different sickness after more sickness and throwing up, but just a lot of joy at the same time because I had a 1.5-year-old. He was so excited to meet his
Mm.
little baby. So it was the mixture of times going so fast
Mm.
and time feels really slow because I'm throwing up every single day and feeling absolutely terrible. So close to the end of April, I had the exact same thing as the first week of pregnancy, where had extreme cramping, extreme throwing up, extreme diarrhea, and which ended up having me go to the emergency room again.
Mm.
Go to the emergency room. They give me Zofran. I was like, yay, Zofran. This works. This works great for me. And everything kind of calmed down a little bit after that. And that would have been probably around April 10th of 2024. And I go through the next few days and I just feel like slightly crampy and a bit more constipated, crampy, just not feeling hot, but not throwing up and
Just pretty
feeling
crummy.
absolutely terrible. Yeah, just feeling crummy. Just
Hmm.
feeling crummy pretty much. And this would have been when my son was about 13 and a half weeks gestation. At this point in time, I didn't know if I was having a boy or if I was having a girl. I was trying to work on getting the genetics test so that I could just find out. I was very, very excited. the beginning of April 18th, I had some spotting, which obviously that would freak out any mother. So I went to the midwife. This was a different midwife than I had previously been seeing with my first baby, so I didn't have any history with them. Um, I went there. The midwives weren't be able to see me, so I saw a regular OB, and I said like, okay, so I've had a tiny bit of spotting, and I do have cramping, but I've been sick for this past week, so I'm not 100% sure what's going on. With my background in midwifery, I do have some knowledge about maternal care, and that can either be really intimidating for doctors, or with a lot of my lovely midwives, uh, they're like, oh, that's so wonderful. That's great. But that was not quite the case with this OB.
Hmm.
So I was going there. I was like, I'm not quite sure what's wrong. I just want to make sure that my baby's okay. That's why I'm here. I want to make sure my baby's okay. I've been really, really sick. She's like, oh, I'm sure there's nothing wrong. Uh, what it sounds like to me is you have a yeast infection, or it's just completely normal to have spotting. It's like, well, it could be a yeast infection. If you're telling me that, it totally could be. I used to get yeast infections all the time. But what I have learned is never take the first answer as
Mm-hmm.
the one that you take. So I was like, so you are telling me that this is either for sure a yeast infection. What is the secondary option? Like, if it is not a yeast infection, what are we going to do? And she's
Yeah,
like,
because how can any doctor say anything with certainty, right?
absolutely. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, I don't, you don't know that.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, okay, so we'll take a swab. We'll make sure that it is a yeast infection. Otherwise, just don't worry about it. So she's like, let's just check and see your baby's okay. So she took out the Doppler, which I have used on many, many ladies in my life. I know the procedure on how to use the Doppler. Um, so she had me go up on the table. She used the Doppler, and she got his heartbeat for about 3 seconds. And it was more so, you know, the sound the placenta makes,
Mm-hmm.
where it sounds kind of wishy-washy, but close to a heartbeat. It's not exactly, you're not right. Like, you're
Mm-hmm.
not right on the heartbeat. It kind of will count, but it's not right on the heartbeat. She had it on the placenta for probably a couple seconds, and then she found his heartbeat, and it sounded fine, but she only did it for 3 seconds, which at the time I was like, you need to wait. Like, I am a mother. I am
Mm-hmm.
scared right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I always find it interesting when someone comes from like the birth world or healthcare and they're getting treated by a doctor. It's like dependent on the day how they want to treat you. Either it's that they respect you, that you know so much, or it's the opposite where they think that you know nothing. And it's all dependent on the day and who's like taking care of you, right? And it's true.
absolutely.
You might
Mm-hmm,
have been a midwife, so you had some knowledge, but like at
mm-hmm,
the same time, you're a mother concerned about your baby. So it's like, can
mm-hmm,
you pick which route you're gonna take? Like either take me
mm-hmm,
seriously or don't. Like, yeah.
mm-hmm. Yep. Uh, absolutely.
Hmm.
And this day it was not the respectful one,
Mm.
this day. So I heard his heartbeat for a couple seconds, which I was very relieved, obviously. And so before I left, I was like, so this is a yeast infection. If this is not a yeast infection, it's like, yeah, we'll figure it out, but it's totally normal, totally fine. So I go home, and cramping continues. I haven't bled since this morning, but just the fact that I did bleed freaked me out. I got on the phone in the way back home. I got on the phone with one of my girlfriends who was a doula who I did midwifery with now, but she switched to doula, and I was like, so heartbeat sounds fine, everything's good. She's like, wow, that's so scary. I was like, you are 100% correct.
Hmm.
I'm
No one wants to see blood when they're pregnant, right?
not at all. And
Hmm.
you've like Even in, have you seen the movie What to Expect When You're Expecting?
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful movie. Love the movie. But I cannot watch the part where she's like, there's blood. I will sob like every
Mm-hmm.
single time. Everybody knows that when there's blood, there's something wrong. Like after my phone call, I hung up. I went the rest of my day. Um, was with my toddler. We were playing, and then come bedtime, I started spotting some more. And my cramps that I had been having, I was like, these are contractions. These are not
Mm-hmm.
cramps anymore. These are 100% contractions because they ebb and flow. And since I had already had my firstborn goose, I like, I was, I was
You
like, I
knew.
know what contract. I knew. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I know what this is. But at this point, I still was very hopeful because I had heard of other people that had had like contractions and the doctors had given them something. I wasn't quite 100% sure because the midwifery that I did was for developing nations and we didn't have a bunch. So I was like, I know there's something. I don't know what it is. Get it to me now. Like,
Mm-hmm.
help me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I put my son to bed, which was a very active bedtime at the time. He still needed like the physical comfort and touch to be able to go to bed.
Mm-hmm.
So as I'm cramping, I'm still putting my oldest kid to bed. And at this point, I'm upset. I was quite upset because I had been in the ER twice this pregnancy, and my husband, who loves me deeply and is 100% on my side all the time, he did not understand that I was like, I am in labor.
Mm-hmm.
And didn't, because I had been in the ER a few times recently, he didn't know if we needed to go to the ER kind of a deal. And I was like, I am going to the ER. Like, he's like, okay, I'm coming with you. We're, we're going. We'll get you help. So we went to the ER. After I put my son to bed, I had his grandparents come and watch him just in case he woke up. Get to the ER, and I'm in excruciating pain, like excruciating pain. And they take me to the like admissions room. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
sure what they call it at the moment. Um, to take
Triage.
like, yeah, triage. They took me to triage. Man, not a fan of the triage room
Mm-mm.
at all.
Especially if it's
Um,
not like the labor and delivery triage room, right?
yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's, yep,
Unsafe
nope.
place.
Very unsafe place. Very,
Mm-hmm.
very, very unsafe place. So I go in there with my husband and it's like I am cramping. If this hurts. And the nurse was one of the worst nurses I've ever had in my life. And I was like, yep, I'm cramping, 14 weeks pregnant, had a little bit of bleeding. And she goes, when was the due date supposed to be?
Mm. So hurtful.
I was like, I was like, my baby's due date is October 17th. And
Mm.
I was upset at her, but I'm also cramping and I just want to get my baby. I just want to get seen. I want someone to take care of me. I want someone to give me something
Mm-hmm.
that will make labor stop. Like, it's possible. I know it's possible. You can do it.
Mm-hmm.
So then they take us back to the waiting room and I'm breathing through these contractions and they let up. And there's mums around me. I see other mums around me and I can see the concern in their face. Of like the concern and the like,
Like, don't want to see this.
I don't want to see this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This is
Which
too hard.
this is too hard. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which for me, I've labored like as a midwife, I've labored with women who have lost their babies. Like I
Mm-hmm.
know what it's like. Um, and so I obviously know what I'm going through.
Mm-hmm.
So the contractions get worse and worse and worse. And eventually they get me in. I don't even know how long it was, probably like an hour after we've been sitting there. And I'm like, you guys need to take me in now. Like this isn't some I broke my finger, get me in, please. Like this is a very
A
serious
life.
life or death. Yeah, this is a life or death matter. This isn't, yeah, this isn't casual. This is my life and the life of my child. You need to do something about it. So eventually they get me through. They're going to take my blood pressure, and I am in the worst pain I've been in my life, including the birth of my firstborn.
Hmm.
And so I'm sobbing at this point because they're not able to do anything without me being in like writhing pain. And so I'm crying. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. They're trying to figure out what's going on eventually.
Mhm.
So we eventually get through all the triage, all the blood pressures, and they're like, well, let's take you to ultrasound and see what's going on. I'm like, okay, this we need to be going faster. But so we get to ultrasound. They try to do the ultrasound, but I'm in like 9, 10 pain. And anytime she presses on my stomach, it's unbearable amount of pain.
Mhm.
Honestly, I could not tell you what happened right after that. I don't know how I got from that room to somewhere else, but she's like, we need to figure out what's going on, why you're in so much pain. So they wheel me out. As we're getting like the general head person in the ER, my water broke.
Hmm.
I've never felt so much grief in one moment in my entire life. And I just start sobbing. I just start screaming and wailing and sobbing. And the OB or the guy was like, I just want you to know what this means. Like, if you, I was like, I know what this means.
Mhm.
I know what this means. Like, I know. So my husband and I are crying together. Because at the same time, I'm still having contractions and I'm in a lot of pain. And in, in that moment, I needed to sneeze. It's just such a horrible thing. And I sneezed and I gave birth to my son.
Mhm.
And I cried, sobbed. And they were like, what happened? And I was like, he's like, my baby's here.
Hmm.
Like, I just gave birth because I wasn't dressed for giving birth whatsoever. I was like, my baby, like, I gave birth. Like, this, my son's out. Like, my child's out. It's not safe anymore because I know 14 weeks is too early. But so eventually what happens, because I can't deal, like, because I have a past in maternal health and I delivered babies in other nations, I saw some very heartbreaking, kind of more gruesome things when I was in the hospitals. And so I had to protect, even in that moment, I needed to protect. I was like, I can't look right now. Like I can't, if I look down, that will be seared into my brain for the rest of my life.
Mhm.
And I don't want that version of my son to be my child. I didn't know he was my son at the time. So they pick him up, they clean him off, they take him, they brought us to our own room. But I was still in an excruciating amount of pain.
Yeah.
But it was 100% the most pain I have been in my life.
Hmm.
Um, and I'm having contractions every minute and a half, probably less, that are just excruciating to try to expel the placenta. And during this time, I had a playlist that was called Baby that I wanted to listen to all throughout this pregnancy, that I wanted to listen to when I was in labor. It was a lot of instrumental songs or worship songs. And in my heart, I had these specific songs impressed on me. And I would tell Josh, like, start this song now. Like I need this song. And one of them is this beautiful song that I hadn't listened to in a long time, but it's called Christ the Lord is With Me by Stephanie Frizzle Gretzinger. And at the end, there's this little beautiful, it's her daughter, her little child that sings, Hallelujah, Christ the Lord is with me. And it's this beautiful little soul singing this. And it crushes and gives me strength but crushes me because I was like, I will never hear my child sing. Like I'll never hear this child sing. A couple hours later, they like, do you want to see your baby? I was like, do you want to see your baby or we'll just no. Now it's like I want to hold my child. Like this is something that I have to do. I want to hold my child. And my husband Josh, who was with me now, he was like, "Are you sure?" Because he knew just I had PTSD from my time in midwifery and care, so I've seen a ton, and he wanted to protect me in that moment. But I was like we need to hold our child.
What was that like for you to hold your baby?
It was one of the best and worst moments of my life, where the moment of his birth was the single most painful moment of my life. But at the same time, I dwell on it all the time. I think about it all the time because he brings me joy. Like, he brings me so much joy. Just this little life, this little spirit. So, yep, they brought him in a little baby blanket. My husband showed me his little feet, his little hands, and I couldn't see his face. I was like, it's all over for me. Like, I mentally, I knew it would wreck me. That, like, I would never be able to, not never. It would take me a long time to recover from it. So my husband asked, like, can I take a picture of our child? And I was like, absolutely, please, please. Like, I know I will want to see my child. I just know that in this moment, I can't. And however horrible that sounds, that was what I had to do in that
Yeah,
moment.
well, you needed to survive, right?
Yeah, that was the only way that I could foresee surviving in that moment. But we got to hold him and he was so precious. He was so, so precious. Just this teeny, teeny, tiny baby. But we held him and we wept and we wept and we wept. And we did my son's bedtime routine with him. My first and last ever time doing that bedtime routine with him. Um, there's a Mr. Rogers song called It's You I Like. Um, and it goes, it's you I like. It's not the things you wear. It's not the way you do your hair, but it's you I like. The way you are right now, deep down inside you, way down deep inside you. Not the things that hide you, not your toys that they're just beside you, but it's you I like. I hope you will remember even when you're feeling blue. It's you I like. It's yourself. It's you. It's you. I like you. And so I sang that song to my baby. We told him that Mama and Dad love him. We prayed. We said, he's in your care now, God. And as we were doing this, I was weeping. And we had a boy name picked out and we had a girl name picked out for this baby that we were like, this will, I know we'll have one of these children. This is that. And so I stopped to my child. I was like, this is one of these two babies. Like, they gave him the names. We still haven't used the name, so I'm just not gonna say it.
No problem.
But I was like, this is this baby or this baby. And he was like, no, it's not. And which, like,
You're like, oh,
I was like, whoa.
yeah.
It shocked it, like it startled me, but I was like, for some reason, he was like he was right, and instantly in my heart, the name Gabriel came into my heart. Like as soon as he said that, the name Gabriel came into my heart. We didn't know if he was a boy or if he was a girl, but I was like, this child's name is Gabriel. And my husband was like, yes, that's who our child is. This is Gabriel. And so we got to like, we love you, Gaby. We love you, Gabriel. Like, Mama and Dada will see you again. Like, we promise we will see you again. And it was, oh, the emergency room did so many things wrong. We had lovely, lovely nurses that were with us, but their policy, which we had to work out later, which was not true. I've had to fight this policy since then. They were like, so you can either take your baby and pay for funeral and pay for all these expenses, or we can cremate your baby and they'll be put in a plot with all the other babies that are in a similar situation. And I was like, I cannot, like, I can't cremate my baby. I need to know where my baby is.
Mm-hmm.
But I was so emotional and so overwrought, just like whatever the word is. My husband was like, we looked it up and it looked like a beautiful, beautiful place. It had poppy flowers, everything. It was gorgeous. And they're like, we'll put the baby in the same plot that is with the rest. And we had just had our child 2 hours earlier, and they're making us make this decision. Like, to me, that no parent should be forced to sign something being like, yeah, this, I just had my child. We're going to make his funeral arrangements right now as
Mm-hmm.
I'm still laboring for the placenta. But my biggest regret in my entire life is we opted for them to bury my son in the plot. And it's the biggest regret of my entire life,
Mm-hmm.
because I wasn't there. And there's nothing that I can do about that. But I've had to forgive myself for doing that because who would have known?
Mm-hmm.
But so eventually we give my son a whole bunch of kisses, and then we have to give them to the nurses because I'm still in labor and I have not, after an hour plus, I have not given birth to the placenta.
Mm-hmm.
So they rush me off in an ambulance. My husband comes in a car. They tell my husband that it's going to be a 30-minute surgery D&C to remove the placenta. They take me under. 3 hours later, they roll me back into the room without telling my husband a single thing. So my
Horrible.
husband sits for 3 hours, having just lost his child and having been told that um, his wife will be okay, but we need to do a D&C, and then she's gone for 3 hours and not telling them anything.
Just
Yeah,
so horrible and not trauma informed and not client centered. It's just horrible.
absolutely.
Mhm.
It was exactly that.
Mhm.
Um, so we went on to grieve my son. I still grieve him most every day. It's been a year and a few months kind of a deal. Still grieve him every day, but I just adore this little life.
Of
Like,
course.
absolutely adore him. One of the most precious things, quotes to me was actually from you,
Mm.
that I think about all the time. I'm beyond grateful that I found your page. I have no idea, but thank God for the algorithm because there are so many, and this is not an offense to any other like lost person, but a lot of the stuff out there is really traumatic.
Hmm.
Um,
It's
a lot
really
of
sad. It could be really, really
it's
sad.
really sad, just
Hmm.
really sad,
And like,
and just like
of course it's sad, but
it is sad.
it's just kind of stuck
It's
in the
stuck in.
angry, in the sad.
Hmm.
I
And
get
that
it.
is all I had ever seen. And
Hmm.
then I don't remember what the first reel I saw of yours was. It might have actually been when you were packing away um, Sweetie Girl's clothes and you were talking
Hmm.
about the feelings of that. But the quote is, how lucky am I to have loved someone so much that I will endure missing them for the rest of my life.
Hmm.
And it is. That's, as lost moms, that's something that we will carry every single day for the rest of our lives. But they're so worthy of that. Like our babies are so worthy of that.
Hmm.
Um, one of my big things that, oh, I just hate when people say is the like, oh, like either everything happens for a reason or whatever. It's like,
Well,
no.
especially in a faith-based community, right? You get a
Yeah,
lot of
people,
the everything happens for a reason or God has a plan, a lot of like,
and
yeah.
and there, I'm gonna butcher this because I should have written it down beforehand. But there's a Bible verse that I looked up because I was like, I need something. Like, I have to hold on to something. But it's in Psalms. I think it's actually Psalms 145. But it says, like, God grieves deeply when his loved ones die.
Hmm.
And it was like, this was never the plan. And something that people get so hung up on that they feel like it will comfort moms with is it happened for a reason.
Hmm.
Or heaven needed another angel. It's like, no. Like, if you're saying that,
You're like, I needed my angel.
and
I'm not super, like, I grew up in a religious home. I'm not super religious now. I
uh-huh,
have my own personal
absolutely,
religious traumas, but I am very spiritual and I love Jesus. And I always went
absolutely,
back to the quote where Jesus weeps with those who weep, and
absolutely,
that he hurts with us when we're hurt. And he's not like this wicked man that's, you know, has this plan
absolutely,
to like break your heart and destroy your life. He is sad with us. And
absolutely.
um, I know like when we went through our losses, it was like really hard to just understand if there was a God, like why he would do this to
Hmm.
us. And especially
Hmm.
when people were telling me that there was a purpose to it and, God needed your baby. And I'm like, well, I needed my baby.
Hmm.
So it really was helpful for me to go back to, oh, he didn't do this to me. He's actually really sad with
Hmm.
me. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So when people say stuff like that, I'm like, my life is not more important than my baby's life.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like, my life was not more important than my baby's life. I am not more
Hmm.
special than my baby.
Hmm.
If you were someone else's baby, like, they're both lives. Like,
Hmm.
by saying, like, oh, well, like, it helped me grow me into a person I am today. It's like, that doesn't matter. Like, in the grand scheme of things, like, yes, but my life is not more important than my baby's life.
Yeah, and there's other ways to grow. So why
Yeah,
this way?
there's a lot of other ways to grow.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Um, so yeah, a lot of times people just don't know what to say.
Mhm.
But so one of my best girlfriends I because I lived everywhere, I have friends in all over the world. Um, and so my closest friend who was my doula does not live here, but another one of my very, very dear friends lives 5 doors down from me.
Mm.
And she was also pregnant at the time when I was pregnant with Gabriel. So I would go down and we would just weep. We would just cry on her front step. I would walk over to her front step and we would just sob together. And she would tell me like how unfair this is. And I was like, it is. Like, there's not much that I can do about it, but it is. Um, and one thing that I had really grieved was I was really stressed out when I was pregnant with Gabriel. And I was like, sweetheart, you'll just have to hang in there and I will deal with all of, because they say like the mother's emotions and the baby's emotions, like have the same nervous system. And I was like, sweetheart, like you'll just
We're
have
gonna
to
get
hang
through
in there.
this.
We'll have to hang in there. We'll get it when
Hmm.
you come out. I will give you all the kisses and we'll be okay. And so I grieved that because I was like, I feel this in my spirit. Like, what do I do? And she's like, no, Julie, your baby only knew love, safety, and comfort.
Hmm.
Like,
It's true.
your baby was never in pain. Your baby was never hurt. Your baby only knew love and comfort and safety. And I had looked the next couple days, I had looked on Etsy for things that had my baby's name on it or whatever, but it was going to take a month or whatever. I have his little name on, you probably can't see it, but it has his name on there. And uh, but so I was waiting for that to come in the mail, and she was like, "Can I come over for just a moment?" I think it was 2 days after Gabriel was born. She's like, "I just wanted to get you something, just something." And it is this beautiful necklace right here. And right here, there's a baby's breath and a forget-me-not.
Mm.
And then it has my baby's initials, Gabriel,
Mm.
GT Gabriel Theodore. And that was the kindest thing anyone could have done for me right
Just
there.
so thoughtful, right?
Hmm.
While we take a quick break, I wanted to introduce you to The Haven, my signature 12-week support program for mothers who are pregnant again after miscarriage, TFMR, stillbirth, or infant loss. This isn't just a course. It's a trauma-informed community program that includes weekly live workshops, expert guest speakers, and ongoing support from me, an experienced doula and fellow lost mom, anytime you need it. You'll also receive one-on-one check-ins, guided journaling prompts, full access to my birth course, Reclaim, and a warm, intimate community of other PAL mothers, a place where you can be real, be held, and be reminded that you are not alone in this. Our winter cohort begins this January, and the waitlist is now open. You can find all the details at thedoulalife.ca/haven. In the Haven, your baby is remembered, your voice is honored, and you are fully supported every step of the way.
Now, Julie, I would really love to, because you obviously welcomed your rainbow baby
Yes, I
after
did.
Gabriel. Tell me what it was like healing from your grief and ultimately
Hmm.
deciding to
Hmm.
try again.
I had so much love in my heart, I didn't know where to put it
Mm-hmm.
because you have this baby, and normally when you have postpartum, there's this baby. You put all this love
Mm-hmm.
into, you give all the kisses, you put all your effort, your time, and there wasn't this baby. And I was like, where does my love go? And
Mm-hmm.
obviously, I have another child, so like I was like, wow, I didn't know I could love this child even more.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I wanted to get pregnant immediately. Like
Mm-hmm.
I I knew that I was like very fertile because when I gave birth to Gabriel, when I conceived Gabriel, I was kind of like, oops, like, well, we'll see how fertile I am. And I was at the time, not meaning to, if anyone has struggled with that, I apologize. But that for me was just, so I was like, I really, really want to get pregnant. And surprisingly enough, I didn't know this at the time. I got pregnant a month later
Mm-hmm.
after deciding that we would wait a few months to try to get pregnant. After we were like, let's try, we tried, and then we're like, well, wait, and then and then I got pregnant. So for us, that was my way of grieving, where I was just like, I don't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
I have this deep longing in my spirit in my heart for a child, and so we found out I gave birth to Gabriel. His birthday is on April 18th, and I found out on, I believe it was June 20th, that I was pregnant with my now daughter. And my first instinct, it was an accident that I took the pregnancy test, honestly, because I had my LH test strips and my pregnancy test strips. And the day before, I had taken a pregnancy test, like both of them. I was like, well, I have them, so I'm just gonna keep taking them, and someday maybe it will be two lions.
Mm-hmm.
And I took it, and I saw two lions, and I was like, oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. And so I took another one, and this is at like 1 in the morning. And so I take them, and it says pregnant on there. I freak out. I'm beyond the moon excited. And my husband is already asleep. So I go in there. I wake him up. I'm like, Josh, I'm pregnant. Like, and so he's like asleep. And I was like, oh, that's wonderful. I'm so happy for us. Like, and then he falls back asleep because he's asleep.
Yeah.
The next day, I was like, how are you feeling? He's like, I'm terrified. And I was like,
Like, oh,
and it just didn't, I was so excited that it didn't quite hit me at first.
resonate. Yeah.
Ah, and then it hit me. And I had the feeling of like I'm beyond excited and I'm beyond terrified. Like
Mm-hmm.
I am wildly scared right now. Um, and so during this time I get like, yep, confirmed, babies, you're pregnant. And I'm dealing this whole time with the fear that comes after having an angel baby of am I going to be able to hold, like, am I really going to get this baby?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so each milestone I passed 5 weeks and was like, yes, okay, can breathe a little bit maybe. And then I knew someone else that lost their baby at 9 weeks. I passed the 9 weeks. I was like, yes. And I remember, so at this, I was in the Haven very, very early,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm beyond grateful for because you and the girls were the biggest support to me. I can't imagine doing that without you guys. But coming up to the day of 14 weeks, I was like, I don't know if I can carry. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I can carry a baby past 14 weeks. I remember seeing the clock turn to midnight. And like, I couldn't fully breathe, obviously, because I hadn't reached 24 weeks and my baby wasn't in my arms. But I could breathe. Like,
Mm-hmm. Every milestone is important, honestly.
hmm hmm it was huge
Mm-hmm.
uh, for me just knowing that. Yeah.
And what did the
So,
rest of the pregnancy kind of? I knew that you were sick again,
oh yeah,
unfortunately.
I had morning sickness the whole pregnancy with um, my baby, whole pregnancy up until the time she was born.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I had morning sickness the entire time. Reached 24 weeks, yay! They have to fight for my baby. That was my biggest thing. You guys, you guys are reliable now. Like,
Yeah,
you guys gotta.
you have to care now. Like,
So get to the very end. And my family got the neurovirus as I was
mm,
40 weeks pregnant.
I'm remembering now.
And so I was 40 weeks, 3 days past my due date. And when you get that far, it's like every day is a year. Like
Yeah.
it feels like the longest time ever. And I give birth on a Monday. On the Wednesday before, I start getting contractions. And I'm like, yes. And I have prodromal labor for 3 days.
Mm.
So I have like real contractions. They start spacing like they're consistent, and then after about 3 hours, they completely stopped. And so that was like, oh,
It's just the most emotionally, it's not even just physically exhausting, it's so emotionally
it's
exhausting.
so emotionally exhausting. It's
Mm-hmm.
especially like as a lost mom, where it's like I find okay, my baby's gonna be
It's
safe soon. I'm gonna get it like,
we're at the end
and
zone.
and it's so crazy because even at that place, like where it's like I am full term, my baby's doing great. Um, I've coped through all of my appointments, all of those terrifying appointments where they
Mm-hmm.
check my blood pressure and they're like, maybe we'll check it again. I was like, yeah, you should probably wait because it's high.
Mm-hmm.
And then I get the neurovirus. And so I am vomiting everything out of my body. And I also had diarrhea. And so
Mm-hmm.
I am like completely nothing's inside of me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where cramping starts to happen because normally you would probably get some cramps at that point. But so that was at 8:30ish where I was like, wow, I feel pretty rough. 8:30 comes around 9:30 and I'm like, sweetheart, like I have contractions. They have begun. They are real. These are my births are very fast births. Like where some people are like, oh, I labored for this time. And the mistake that a lot of people think when you have a fast birth, I've gotten this so many times, like, that must have been so easy. You
I
had a
know.
fast birth. I'm like, so the physiology of it, fast births doesn't give your brain, your body time to prepare. It's an incredibly intense
Yeah, and
experience.
even just process. Like a lot of people enjoy having a longer birth because they can be present, they can really sink into it.
Absolutely. Yep,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. You get kind of the rhythm, you get things going on, figure it
Mm-hmm.
out. So 9:30 comes along. I'm like, I think they were maybe 4 minutes, like 3 minutes apart. And then they start getting even more intense and they're 2 minutes apart. So I'm like, we're going to the hospital right now. Like, we are going to the hospital. I need to go.
Mm-hmm.
So again, wonderfully, I was able to put my son to bed, which I was so grateful for. So I called the line. I wasn't able to call the midwife line because I must have gotten the wrong phone number. So I just called the nurse line and she's like, so you have to wait until the midwives call you back. They'll call you back in maybe an hour time. I was like, I'm going to be there. I don't care what you're saying right now. I will be there, or I'm giving birth in my car.
Mm.
So I get to the place, and I'm like, I'm 8 centimeters. I know it. And so, because I was in extreme pain and my contractions were really, really fast, and that was about 10:30 p.m. And I'm throwing up at this time and having diarrhea as I'm in labor and throwing up. And as soon as we get there, my husband runs to the bathroom and also has the neurovirus. And so he goes back and forth between comforting me and needing to take care of himself. And so eventually, about an hour later, probably like 11:30, they check, and I'm like, you need to check. Baby's gonna come. I'm in the birth tub. They check, and she's like, you're 4 centimeters dilated. I'm like, not a chance. Someone else check it. I don't trust you. So I was like, so right now you're telling me I am not in active labor? She's like, yep. It's like, okay, well, you're wrong, but that's okay. I'm gonna keep laboring. So I have my Christian hypnobirthing in my ears, have my birth combs in my hands. I'm in the birth tub, and eventually they're like, okay, you need to get out of the tub. You're stalling. Like, things aren't happening. Get out of the tub. I'm in so much pain. Come 3 a.m. So I think it was 4 hours after we got there. Like, I'm still not having birthed my child, but my husband is still like wildly sick in the bathroom. And I was like, someone needs to check on Josh. Like, I'm not even concerned about myself right now. Like, go check on Josh. I was like, you make sure that like he's not going to pass out. And they're like, Josh, are you going to pass out? He's like, pretty soon. And I was like, okay. It's like, so it's 3 a.m. They're like, these are your two options. Like, he can stay here, but we don't know when your baby's going to be due, but he needs fluids. And I was like, I want my husband to be okay. Like, I love you, sweetheart. You need to go to the emergency room, which is downstairs, fortunately. So he goes, I get back in the birth tub, and I'm like, you need to check me. You check me again. Like my body's feeling the urge to push. I'm like, and they're like, you're about 6 to 7 centimeters. I was like, get me something right now. Like, I don't care what it is. Get me something right now. And get on the bed. I have the nitrous on. I'm starting to breathe. My water breaks. 10 minutes and one push later, and my daughter is born.
Sometimes all you need is that water bag to get out of the way, right?
Absolutely. I was like, okay. Like, that was all I needed. And the moment of finally holding her.
What was that like?
The veil between heaven and earth was so thin. It was, I don't think I'll ever experience something like, other than the birth of your children. Like, there's no experience like it was. I could truly breathe for the first time in 40 weeks. Yeah. And just the feeling of finally having her there. She was born, and I was like, is she okay? Just tell, like, is she okay? Is she okay? And they're like, she's totally fine. She's doing great. And the complete, utter peace, and just like,
it's just instant, right?
it's instant. It is an instantaneous thing. It was the most beautiful, one of the most beautiful moments of my entire life. Just finally being able to hold my child. It was just,
And
it was worth everything. And it was her name is Ameya. Yep. And my husband is Australian, and so her first name is Ameya, which means close to God, and her last name is Banksia, which is an Australian flower, our favorite Australian flower. So she's a little pretty Australian
I love
flower.
that. So pretty.
Yeah.
Wow.
Very sweet.
What a whirlwind, Julie. You've really been through it with the medical field for sure. But you held so much grace, and you really stuck to it, even when your husband is sick in the ER, and I guess you were by yourself, right, when she was born.
Yep. It was me and the nurses, and honestly, and my midwife. If you have good nurses, that's what makes it. I'm like, I don't care who else is here. Give me a good nurse that'll like massage my calves and tell me I can do it.
I always say, like, whoever is at your birth was like meant to be at your birth, and
100%.
whoever didn't make it for some reason, they weren't supposed to be there. So, and it's not a positive or a negative thing. It just is what is. And good for you for You know, that is
Yeah,
huge to be without
thank
your
you.
partner to have your
Yeah.
baby. I would love to hear, you know, now that your rainbow baby's here and you've
Uh-huh.
gotten through the first, I would say the first year of first. The first year is always the
Hmm.
hard, so hard. Every year is
Yeah.
hard, but I really find the first year just kind of to be excruciating. But I would love to hear how, you know, you and your family honor Gabriel or how he shows up in your life today.
So it's an interesting one. So his birthday, the first year birthday came around April 18th. I dreaded it. His due date
Hmm.
was the worst day ever. Him not being there was the absolute worst. We went to the place where he was buried, and it was just excruciating, excruciating,
Hmm.
excruciating. Come his birthday, I was dreading it. I was wildly dreading it. And it ended up being the most special day for me because it was an entire
Hmm.
day to celebrate Gabriel and his
Hmm.
sweet little life. And when my firstborn uh, turned one, my husband's half British, half Australian, so we made scones for my son's birthday. And so for Gabriel's, we brought our little family of four. Like before Ameya was born, we have a picture of when I told my husband that I was pregnant. So I was like, all of us are represented in this picture. Brought his little picture um, to the ducks. I've always felt in my heart that my son loves ducks. So I brought him to where the duckies were, and we had scones and lit a birthday candle, and um, we're able to do that. We have a little box that my husband made that has the blanket that uh, Gabriel was wrapped in. It has that in there. We got him a duck because I'm like, he loves ducks. So he has this little ducky in there, has his blanket in there. I got all of my kids matching shirts that say Mama's Little Coffee Date on the back, and it has their name on the front. Um, and my older son will ask to look in the box quite frequently. He doesn't fully know because he's 2.5. He doesn't fully know that Gabriel is his brother yet.
Hmm.
But he knows that Gabriel is a very special little baby that Mama loves very much.
Hmm.
Um, which one day it will come up that he's his brother.
Yeah, like that
Um,
conversation's going to change.
it'll change, but just for the
Hmm.
age that he is, it's not quite
Yeah.
gonna click. But he knows that we love Gabriel, that we love little baby. Um, and I've been able since losing Gabriel, I didn't know anyone else really who had lost a baby, especially later on. And then since then, I've known probably two or three that I've been able
Hmm.
to walk with through their pregnancy after loss journey and support them through that in whatever way that I can. And just being able to talk about our babies together, like, oh yeah, your baby and my baby are friends. Like, I'm sure your baby and my baby are friends, kind of a thing.
Hmm.
Like, just being able to have that camaraderie, being able to say, like, I know what you're going through, like,
Hmm.
has been a way for me to honor Gabriel, um, and to just be able to love. Like, I would never wish this upon anyone, ever. Not my wildest enemy in the world. I would never wish this upon anyone. Best members, worst club. But to be able to like honor my son in that way and to be able to help other moms in that way has been
Hmm.
just a huge honor to me. And I'm just very grateful to little Gaby that I'm able to do that, and just even being able to with you be able to share his sweet story and his sweet life. Um, yeah, I think he's part of me every single day. He's
Hmm. Well,
who I am today.
I'm sure he's incredibly proud of his mama.
Thank
Hmm.
you.
Hmm. Well, Julie, thank you so much for sharing, you know,
Mm,
your heart, your story, your Gabriel, your beautiful rainbow baby girl. I know that
mhm,
you are just such an infectious person. You're so lovable and relatable. And I know that there's going to be women that listen to this and they just feel a little bit more seen and a little bit more validated listening to you.
nice.
So I just want to thank you for, you know, coming on here and helping heal those women with your story. And I think that that in itself, and you even said it, sharing Gabriel here today, that is a way of honoring him, and you are honoring him very, very well. So thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for just taking time. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for tuning in today. If you enjoyed today's episode and want to connect more, Instagram is where I hang out most. So come join me in a beautiful community of lost moms for pregnancy after loss education, real life grief talk, and deep solidarity. You can find me at the.doula.life and at the Rainbow Connection podcast. And remember, you are never alone. I'll see you in the next episode.